still can't quite believe it's a new year, don't know about you. I thought it would be quite a nice way to celebrate 2026 by looking back 10 years and ranking my personal 7 favourite cameras that came out in 2016. 10 years old, still epic, still a bargain, still well worth it. Let's start with a premium compact, the TZ80 by Lumix. TZ standing for travel zoom, and my goodness does it have some zoom. Now my preference personally, if it comes down between loads of zoom or a fast wide aperture on a premium compact, I would much rather have the aperture and the quality of the glass. But if you do want zoom, this has got zoom. It's ridiculous. I did a compact camera challenge with this actually, and I went out to Liverpool and shot 3 pieces of art with the idea of getting them printed out and put on my wall as like a triptych. And I've still got that on my wall to this day. So the image quality is certainly good enough in good light because the sensor is quite small. Why I think this is worth mentioning is there's a new version of this called the TZ99, which just came out in 2025, 9 years later, and I actually think the TZ80 is better. The TZ80 has an EVF, and in the new model they've taken that out. The new version has exactly the same sensor and exactly the same lens, which gives you a stupid 720mm equivalent zoom. But if you've got a really narrow aperture and a teeny tiny sensor, I don't think it's that great. However, if you do want to get one, get the older one because it's basically the same camera. It has an EVF and the new one doesn't, and you can find them a lot cheaper. But it's not my cup of tea. But it might be yours. This is a camera, believe it or not. This is the DxO1, and one of my favourite unconventional cameras. Make cameras weird again. This is one of the weirdest cameras ever made, and it's well cool. The screen on it is ridiculous. It's like all dots rather than an actual screen, which makes it just on the right side of usable. And I just find it charming. It was, of course, designed to go into a phone. You could get an iPhone or an Android version, but because it's 10 years old now, the apps are no longer supported, and luckily you can whack a micro SD card in it and just use it as a standalone unit. And because it's got the tiny little screen, it makes it kind of like a shooting from the hip, really incognito camera. And amazingly, why I think it's so cool is it has a 1-inch sensor. Yes, it's got the same size sensor as the RX100 line of Sony cameras. So a really high quality sensor in something absolutely dinky. It's only 108 grams and you can absolutely stick this thing in your pocket and completely forget that it's there. I went through a phase of taking it round on a little mini tripod and getting time lapses with it. It's just dead simple to just leave it going, press the button and let it go. It's very, very cool for time lapses as well as photos. But the main unique thing with the DxO1 is it's made by DxO, so they are pioneers for noise reduction, and it has its own magical RAW file format called Super RAW, which is the cheesiest name ever, but it's great. What it does is it kind of takes several shots in quick succession and then stacks them all together to give you a really clean result. And the low light performance in this, considering it's 10 years old as well, when you shoot Super RAW, the images are really, really clean. So very cool, very unconventional camera, and I think it's time that we bring back strange cameras. I'd love to see a new version of this. Not quite as flashy or as stylish as other cameras on this list, but the Lumix G80 is now 10 years old. This little micro four thirds camera is like the absolute sweet spot of amazing spec for the price. And it's the camera that my dad takes with him on all of our nerdy photography holidays, like when we go to the Faroe Islands or Iceland, etc. And he always gets really good photos with it. It's weather sealed, and you know, there's always that thing, maybe a 10-year-old camera, you should probably not trust the seals, but we've been through waterfalls with this. We've been on rib boats with this. We've put this camera through its paces and it's survived so far. I've even used this for my own clips of B-roll, like when I've been filming with a camera in Iceland, I've just grabbed my dad's camera and used it for bits of B-roll. So the video still stands up 10 years later, and it has IBIS, it has a flippy screen, it has an EVF. It's just not the most pretty camera in the world, and I wouldn't really class it as like an everyday carry camera because it's quite a chunky grip and a more traditional format. And it might just be me, but I sort of imagine those sort of black grippy cameras as like functional tools rather than things that are fun. But you can pick these up for an absolute steal. Time for another unconventional weird option, and one camera that's very close to my heart, the Zcam E1. This is the world's smallest 4K cinema interchangeable lens camera. What a mouthful. I hope I got it right. And basically it's a tiny little box that's just barely bigger than the sensor, and you can use it standalone for photo and video. I like to carry this around with a little mini tripod, and it even shoots in like a 4:3 aspect ratio as well. So for little video postcards, it's super fun to play with. Now, of course, the ergonomics are weird. I think it was designed that you could put it into a cage and stick a screen on it and all that other stuff. But honestly, if you're going to do that, you may as well just buy a bigger camera to begin with. I think the charm of this camera is keeping it small and interesting. And you can use it as a tiny photography camera as well. The autofocus is a single point autofocus, but it's not terrible. You know, it's like average micro four thirds kind of autofocus. The Z-Log profile means you do have plenty of wiggle room for the video and colour grading. It's strange, it's 10 years old, and I think, again, make more weird cameras. I love stuff like this. I have dedicated videos for most of these cameras, which I'll link in the description if you'd like to see more. Luminar Neo is the kind sponsor of this week's video, and I'm going to quickly head to my desk and show you 60 seconds of an edit that I'm really proud of and show you some features. Let's do it. This is my image. I shot this on the OM3, and I'm going to start by just tweaking the colours to my taste. So I'm going to go to custom LUTs. I want this image to be quite warm, so I'm going to pop it up to about 50%. So that's where we started, and this is where we are. Now, one thing that I adore and use all the time in this piece of software is glow. So you can go to mask, get the size, and I'm just going to paint in where I want it. And you can be quite rough with this. It doesn't have to be exact. And then I'm going to choose the autumn effect. We add it in to taste. So that was the original. And here is where we're at now. So one thing that I really like called light depth. It's figuring out the depth of the scene so you can shift the light around, which is mad. And then to emphasize the light, I'm going to add in a linear mask and make this side quite dark. So all I'm going to do is add that in and then just pull the exposure down a little bit. Luminar Neo is available as a one-time purchase with no subscription required. You can use code NERDS10 for a cheeky discount, which I'll link in the description. Hey, oops. I was just going to turn that on to, you know, show you how cool this camera is, and the battery's died, so the lens is stuck out. Sorry. Look at this B-roll instead. This is the beautiful Lumix LX10/LX15. I spoke about this camera quite a lot. I'm going to take it out on some photo walks this year and do some more updated videos while it's 10 years old. I love it. I think it's beautiful, timeless. It has the same sort of 1-inch sensor size as the DxO1 and also like the Sony camera, so really decent for a premium compact size. And like I said at the beginning with the travel zoom cameras, if I had to choose between that style and this style, I would choose this every day of the week. You have a Leica branded f1.4 to f2.8 lens on it. It has a beautiful aperture ring that's nice and tactile. You've got a flippy out screen, you've got a touch screen, you've even got Wi-Fi. It feels very, very modern given it's 10 years old. And why Lumix didn't update this instead of the travel zoom, I don't know, but I'm still mad about it. It even shoots 4K video, and it's certainly very pocketable. What I've done with mine is it doesn't have a filter thread on the front, but I've put a little magnet on the front so that I can just stick on whatever filters that I like. At the moment I've got loads stacked. I've got an ND8 and then a little tiny mist filter by K&F CONCEPT, which is really cool. They're both by K&F CONCEPT because I love the K&F CONCEPT filters. But that's completely irrelevant. You can also do this on the travel zoom as well. I did that on the travel zoom after filming this video where I was holding a big filter in front of it. I found this solution after I filmed that. So yeah, if you do have a premium compact style camera, you can get magnets and then attach filters like that. And it doesn't matter if you don't have a filter thread. Top tip. On to number 2, bewilderingly. Somehow, the Lumix GX80/85 is 10 years old. I spent a lot of time with this camera last year. It's such a good little camera. It feels very modern, timeless, and wonderful. It's very stylish. You've got front and back dials. You've got IBIS, and the video quality is also wonderful. I do think in many ways, as I said in the dedicated video, the GX80, it sort of embodies what Micro Four Thirds is to me. It's very small but feature packed. It was always a good price. I think when I bought it originally, when it came out, I got it in 2017. Today is new camera day, and as we all know, camera day is the best day. I got the GX80. And I think it was like 389 or something like that with the kit lens. So it was always affordable, and I think that's a very important pillar of Micro Four Thirds. And some of the bigger flagship cameras have gone a little bit crazy priced. They're impressive, but for me, I want a tiny camera that's feature packed, affordable, moderately stylish. You know, as far as Lumix cameras go, it's quite stylish, and you can attach all of the tiny lenses as well. I think to this day the GX80 is also a brilliant option, and I think a newer iteration of that would look like a Micro Four Thirds version of the Lumix S9, which I would do horrible things for. Not gonna lie. And if you are a Micro Four Thirds enthusiast, it will come as no surprise that my favourite camera that is turning 10 years old in 2026 is the Olympus Pen F. The beauty, the flagship, probably the best photocentric Micro Four Thirds camera ever made. And it was the camera that turned my head. All those years ago, I was shooting the Sony a7, the original one, and I saw the Olympus Pen F and I coveted it. You know, I was like against the glass in John Lewis, like, give it me, give it me, give it me. And I sold all my Sony stuff, switched teams. As quickly after that, got the G7. Quickly after that, got the GH cameras, and the rest is history. So not only is the Olympus Pen F the camera that got a lot of people into Micro Four Thirds, it's also the camera that, without hyperbole, changed my life. Because I wouldn't be here talking about nerdy cameras with you guys otherwise. Let me know in the comments if you are team silver or team black on black. I think I'm team black on black, and my original copy was the black one, and I'd love to see the OM3 in black on black. I just think it would look stunning, but it's irrelevant, it's an aesthetic thing. Whichever one you prefer, you've got really nice build quality. There's not a visible screw on the Pen F, which is a feat of engineering, and everything is metal, everything is beautiful. You've got the colour profiles. Again, if we could get an updated one, I would be very happy indeed. I do love the OM3, as I talk about on this channel a lot, but it is that bit bigger. If we stripped out the video features, because the video features on the Pen F are atrocious, just to be clear, if we made a proper, just photocentric, stylish camera that was smaller and the same form factor as the original, I think that would be popular. Let me know what you think. I think that would be really cool, depending on the price, of course. So what is your favourite camera from this era? Do you think that buying older cameras is still worth it in 2026? Personally, I do. Of course I do. I think you can get a lot more charm and a lot more quirky things like the DxO1 or the Z-Cam compared to today, where a lot of things are quite cookie cutter. Check out the dedicated videos if you'd like to learn more about any of these cameras, and I shall see you in the next one.